The modern multiplayer landscape is just so saturated with games, it's really hard for even an exceptional experience to stand out. And that sort of goes double for those multiplayer modes that are tacked onto a single player experience, where gamer expectations are already, well, the bar is kind of in hell. That said, we have all experienced those unexpectedly jaw-dropping multiplayer modes that got their claws into us and wouldn't let go, leaving us spending way too many long nights unable to pull away while promising ourselves it's just one more match. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are the 10 best multiplayer modes of all time. Number 10, Spies vs. Merks, Splinter Cell. Let's kick things off with a multiplayer mode that is so darn incredible, it probably should have been spun off into its own game, but hey, at least we got it at all. We are of course talking Splinter Cell Spies vs. Merks. This was introduced in the series' second game Pandora Tomorrow, and it's far from a conventional multiplayer deathmatch, given that opposing sides play the game from different perspectives. Mercs go about their business from a first-person viewpoint and are kitted out with plentiful weapons, albeit at the cost of their speed and mobility. Spies are meanwhile given a third-person perspective, granting them wider awareness of the general area, even if their lack of weaponry requires them to attack Mercs stealthily. It's a frankly ingenious way to incorporate multiplayer into the Splinter Cell universe in a way that feels organic and really fits with the entire theme, and it's so good in fact that we did see it recur in other games in the franchise. Given the mode's enduring popularity 20 years on, Ubisoft would be daft not to include it in their upcoming remake of the original game, so fingers crossed. Number 9, Species Deathmatch, Aliens vs Predator 2010. Now, the interesting thing about Aliens vs Predator from 2010 is that this is a game that's still regularly played by hundreds of people on Steam, even today, just every single day. And that's really a testament to just how popular this multiplayer mode was, even though it's been 15 years since it came out. Oh my goodness, time flies. Now, the entire multiplayer suite is great, but there is one mode that soars high above the rest, and that is Species Deathmatch if you're in Australia, or Species Deathmatch in other regions of the world. Now, this sorts players into 3 teams of Marines, Aliens, and Predators, and then tosses them all into an arena to duke it out. It is a face-melting delight to watch the abject carnage that unfolds as the 3 sides use their special set of skills against the other. If you want to get really nuts, there's also a mixed species deathmatch where you've got 2 teams and you just get a random grab bag of the 3 species. It goes without saying that seeing Marines and Xenomorphs team up to take down a couple of Predators is as hilarious as it is awesome, and lends a unique wish fulfillment aspect to the game which you can't help but appreciate. Species. Number 8, Hot Pursuit, Need for Speed. Way back in 1998, Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit introduced the elegantly simple but fiendishly addictive split-screen Hot Pursuit mode. Now, this mode is effectively a multiplayer cops and robbers. One player is a racer and the other is a cop trying to chase them down and arrest them. Also, luckily, everyone here is a human, so you don't have to listen to me say species again. The mode was popular enough to return in a number of Need for Speed titles, though it's been conspicuously absent from more recent entries in the franchise, which is a crying shame given the enormous potential for a massively multiplayer Hot Pursuit mode. All the same, nothing, not even the lack of its reoccurrence in the series so far, can erase the absolute joy of playing Hot Pursuit when you were younger with a friend, cousin, what have you. You may not have been as close after the fact, depending on your temperament, but still a wonderful memory, I'm sure. It's the most obvious mode imaginable for a game called Need for Speed, and yet it had a compulsive tractor beam-like pull, enough that one has to question why so many subsequent games opted not to include it. Baffling. Number 7, Social Strand System, Death Stranding. Though the core of Hideo Kojima's mesmerizing Death Stranding is rooted firmly in its single-player experience, it nevertheless boasts one of the most unexpected and innovative multiplayer modes of the past decade. While players spend pretty much the entire game traipsing across post-apocalyptic United States solo, except of course for your precious BB, there is a really clever way that this game incorporates multiplayer elements. While you can't directly encounter other couriers, you are able to leave supplies, structures like ladders and bridges, and messages for them to find, and to the same token, you can of course stumble across the very same. You can also leave likes for items or messages which proved helpful to you. It's a really ingenious way to make Death Stranding's very isolating and pretty brutal world feel more alive without resorting to incorporating some kind of multiplayer mode that just wouldn't fit the theme of the game. Also, everyone pees in the same area and makes mushrooms, and then there's mushrooms. So name another multiplayer mode that does that. In a game that's all about uniting what remains of society, a system like this couldn't feel more apt. Number 6, Manhunt, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was the first game in the massive stealth action franchise to introduce multiplayer, and while skepticism was very high, to say the least, Ubisoft did knock this one out of the park. Players take control of trainee Templars at an Abstergo facility as they access the memories of old Templars in order to hone their combat skills. They do so across a series of 8 match types, which really do utilize the series' central stealth and combat mechanics to great effect. The highlight of these is Manhunt, in which the hunted side tries to blend in with the environment and crowds of NPCs in order to avoid detection, all while the hunters try to seek them out, with the sides swapping at half time. This is a rare case too, where both teams are just as much fun to play. When you're the hunted, there's a lot of interesting and cheeky ways to disguise yourself, and when you're the hunter, there's an equally interesting amount of ways to weed them out. Number 5, Kill Confirmed, Call of Duty. 2011's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 introduced the brilliantly innovative Kill Confirmed multiplayer mode. Here, players have to not only kill the enemy team, they need to collect the dog tags they drop after dying in order to confirm the kill and score extra points. Conversely, quick-thinking players can grab dog tags of the members that have fallen from their own team, which then denies the other team the ability to get those points and gets points for themselves instead. It's a simple but fantastically creative riff on the typical team deathmatch formula, adding an extra layer of strategy to the mayhem while punishing campers and rewarding the most mobile of players. If there's a downside to Kill Confirmed, it's that a lot of casual players just don't play the objective, which is ever a problem in Call of Duty and a lot of multiplayer games. So while you're busy hoovering up every dog tag you can find, there's no guarantee your teammates will follow suit. But when it works, Kill Confirmed is a damn blast. In fact, it might be the best controlled chaos mode that the whole series has ever had. I'm not a huge Call of Duty head, and I've played this one and absolutely loved it. That might mean nothing to you, but I've shared it anyway. Let me know if you liked it in that comment box. Number 4, Cat and Mouse, Dirt 3. Dirt 3 has never really gotten the flowers it deserves for coming up with one of the most deliriously ridiculous and downright fun multiplayer modes in any racing game ever. Now, Cat and Mouse is an utterly unhinged mode that emulates that typical online race format. Basically, one player is the mouse who has to complete the track in a rickety Mini Cooper. More to the point, the mouse's lap time is the only one that matters, and so the other members on each team need to protect their own mouse as they slowly drive around the track while making their best effort to attack the other mouse and any opposing players trying to protect it. Now, Dirt admittedly wasn't the only racing game to have a mode like this. Project Gotham Racing and Forza Horizon also had really similar ones, but it's arguable that Dirt did it best. Sadly, despite Dirt 3 still retaining a couple hundred faithful players on Steam, it's tough to find many players willing to play some cat and mouse these days. Probably because its sillier gameplay style doesn't really appeal to the diehards that are still playing a racing game 13 years after its release. Even if you can't crack into a match, though, we'll still never forget it, and hopefully after this list it'll be a little easier. Number 3, Metal Gear Online, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. Because the 4th Metal Gear Solid game apparently didn't offer up enough value with its single-player campaign, it came bundled with Metal Gear Online. While fans have been clamoring for a multiplayer Metal Gear game since the earlier days of the franchise, there was also clear potential for the single-player stealth action gameplay to become a pure mess when taken online. Thankfully, that wasn't the case at all. Hideo Kojima successfully translated the series' distinctive style into a fun and thrilling competitive multiplayer shooter. The tricky thing for us on this list is that there isn't really a single standout mode of Metal Gear Online so much as a bunch of really great ones. The two probable highlights, though, are Stealth Deathmatch, where all players are equipped with stealth camo as the map slowly constricts around them, funneling them together, and Team Sneaking, in which one team wears stealth camo while the other doesn't. The emphasis on stealth gameplay combined with idiosyncratic staples of the franchise like hiding in cardboard boxes and fighting with the CQC ensured that MGO didn't blend into the glut of Me Too console multiplayer shooters, and that carved out a firm identity for itself that didn't feel like a tack on. Number 2, factions, The Last of Us. Because it isn't enough that The Last of Us is one of the best video games of all time and is one of the very few instances of a video game turning into a really good TV show or movie, it also happens to have a fantastic multiplayer edition called Factions. What separates Factions from other similarly polished modes that repurpose single-player maps into online death boxes is the focus on supply gathering to keep your side, whether you're the Hunters or the Fireflies, alive across a series of 12 matches, or weeks. Players who neglect to scavenge and focus only on killing will see their clan in dire straits before long, ensuring that Factions requires them to demonstrate a scrappy cunning if they want to succeed. Naturally, a lot of people were left frustrated when Factions was conspicuously absent from Naughty Dog's 2022 remake, especially as The Last of Us Online, widely expected to be a big-budget standalone follow-up to Factions, was cancelled late last year amid a strained development. Number 1, Galaxy at War, Mass Effect 3. The stink of Mass Effect 3's lackluster ending faded considerably after spending hundreds of hours in its considerably less controversial multiplayer mode, despite plenty of hand-wringing when it was first announced. Galaxy at War is effectively Mass Effect's answer to Gears of War's Horde mode, a cooperative 4-player mode in which players need to battle increasingly tough waves of foes. That might sound simple enough, but there was an incredible amount of species, I know it's happened again, to choose from, and because of that they all had a lot of unique abilities, so there was a lot of experimentation for each player to see what build was going to work best for them. Combine this with a legit emphasis on teamwork, genuinely satisfying progression, and thoughtful integration into the single-player experience, with multiplayer boosting your readiness rating in the campaign, and Mass Effect 3's co-op multiplayer was leagues ahead of what anyone expected. It is a shame that the multiplayer mode didn't make it into the 2021 Legendary Edition release, though it should be said, there's still like a couple dozen people playing the OG 2012 edition on Steam right now, so that's impressive. I guess you could say they're a different breed, or species. Sorry.